This podcast is brought to you by Platform Equinix. Platform Equinix provides government agencies with the global ability to digitally transform by deploying new command and control capabilities through private interconnection to mission partners, network, cloud, and other digital service providers. Learn more about Platform Equinix at www.equinix.com/lp/government-solutions.
Hello from sunny San Diego. I'm Ross John Fortuna, Managing Editor of GovCIO Media and Research, reporting here from AFCEA West 2024, where leaders are discussing the future of information, defense technology, and the broader global threat landscape. Joining me now is Shery S. Thomas, Cyber Technology Officer and Technology Director at U.S. Marine Corps Forces Cyberspace Command, Marine Corps Forces Space Command, and Marine Corps Information Command. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for letting us share some thoughts from what's going on within the Marine Corps.
We were talking before the mics got hot. Explain your titles, because I had real trouble with them.
Absolutely. So the first one is Cyber Technology Officer and Technical Director, meaning providing current operations, current fight in terms of three commands, and I'll explain each one. Cyberspace, cyber technology in terms of cyber command is the offensive and defensive cyber mission, protecting the cyber terrain, the totality of the cyber terrain, which we'll discuss as we go along. The second one is a space command. Space is the outer layer, and everything that we are the service component to space comm. So we are the service component to cybercom, to spacecom, and then the third leg is the information command, which is all of the publicly accessible information, the open source information, all of the news and social media information within the Marine Corps side, within the joint side, and the collaboration of all that information in terms of warfighting mission.
Modernization effort, Marine Corps modernization effort. What is the state of it? What does it look like going forward? What does it look like 5 years in the future?
Correct. So Marine Corps network modernization is an ongoing effort. It was started a few years ago, and it is an iterative process. We are in multiple phases in terms of modernization. We are doing a unification from tactical to enterprise. And enterprise means it could be industrial control systems. It could be facilities-related control systems. Tactical edge is the Marine Expeditionary Forces, Marine Forces in terms of the Pacific, the European theater, the Africa theater, the CENTCOM theater. The disparate networks that were existing, we're going to unify that into a single MCEN, Marine Corps Enterprise Network, on the NIPR, on the unclassified side, and on the classified side. That's a phased approach. They're going to cut off certain networks as they become available. Now, what is network? Network is both the hardware and the software. So we're going to reduce duplicity of a lot of hardware sets that tactical edge users have or that facilities are using. And at the same time, any enterprise solutions from the applications and services, which are the software side of it, will collapse it into a single enterprise. So that helps in terms of identity and in terms of services that are provided. We're trying to put more sensors on the network, so if there is anomalous behavior or activity, can contain that piece of the network versus it becoming like a virus. It spreads.
Quarantine, as we all learned about a few years ago. Of course. You mentioned the tactical edge. That is something I've been hearing a lot here at AFCEA West. What is the demand, the approach? How is that working for the Marine Corps to get the warfighters at the tactical edge the information and the tools that they need?
Yes. So one of the primary aspects of that is the network, the latency, the jitter, how fast I can get information downstream and also bring it back upstream, ensuring there's cybersecurity on this too. There is no adversary behavior and there is no anomalous behavior. The patches have to be in flight and on par so that there is no you're trying to make it as air-gapped as possible. So it's the totality of all of it. We cannot do it with people. It has to be a people and a machine. So man-on-man teaming is what I say, because now you have to introduce artificial intelligence, machine learning, large language models, and then as we craft this, there has to have integration with existing systems, brownfield, because we cannot go entirely greenfield. And the brownfield is we got to see what is the current state of various aspects of the network. Are there really old routers and switches, or are there something in the middle that is cloud native, can be accessed based on software changes? And then the interoperability. Everybody should know about JADC2 and the component that we play within JADC2 and the Marine Corps, ensuring an integrated mission data fabric and having that data transposed to our service partners and to our coalition and allies.
Regarding your service partners, coalition allies, what are you sort of learning, and how is the lessons learned being helped between the Marine Corps and these partners on this modernization journey?
Yes. We'll start with the service side. It helps in terms of a joint relationship between the Marine Corps and the Navy. We are seeing there are some networks that are a little bit different, and we're trying to figure out what is the best business-to-business relationships. Primarily, I'm speaking in the impact level 5 as we continue to build that out. We are also doing joint regional security stack migration into a zero trust architecture. At the same time, we're trying to figure out what is the network that everybody has available, and what are the limitations in terms of low Earth orbit, mid Earth orbit, geosynchronous satellites, cellular networks, and fixed or fiber optic. So multiple areas there. And then we are trying to see best of breed solutions. So if the Army or the Air Force has some tool or system, how can we come on to that? Or from a cybersecurity side, if there's some authorities to operate, instead of reinventing the wheel, how do we do reciprocity, right? Should take the information from there and tweak it to make it Marine Corps centric, but not do the whole package again. And then protection is the RAISE platform, which is a standard that we're setting in terms of continuous monitoring, continuous ATOs, continuously protecting the network. And so multiple different areas in terms of sensors that we're trying to put on the network. I am a big proponent in terms of electromagnetic interference, electromagnetic spectrum, the footprint that we're putting onto a base or a ship or a site. That is an adversary target that we're trying to figure out. So network resiliency.
Well, to that end, this stuff is changing every day. The speed of change is as fast as it has ever been. So how do you sort of evolve to face those threats? Like you said, these are pretty serious targets for adversaries. Certainly in cybersecurity way, I should say.
Yes. So the primary operations is to be threat informed. And when we are threat informed, we have to make sure the acquisition strategy matches, a contracting strategy matches, and the pace of technology matches too. There's 3 areas that I look at in terms of alignment of what the force needs and how we can provide it, the velocity of that fielding, and then what are we getting rid of? Because you keep adding more and more layers to the network, it becomes very complex for the user. I want to get rid of 250-page training manuals. Nobody uses that for your smartphone or your setting up your home network. We shouldn't be doing that for a new Marine coming in or a new individual coming into the service. So I'm looking across the .mil PF, the doctrine, the organization, the training. So the material is one of the aspects, but that material's got to stretch across the personnel, the logistics, and the facilities.
When you have more digital natives coming into service, does that help? Does that hurt? And again, we've heard a lot about talent, recruitment, and retaining. Is that helping in the modernization world?
Digital modernization, to a degree, the personnel are helping. Now we're trying to make them digitally literate, which means cyber hygiene, cyber posture, what you should be doing. And this, I go back to that Marine Corps information command, how much you're putting out in terms of social media, when you put out a picture, when you put out a post, when you put out information, and now the collection of multiple different sources of information can stitch together a product. Then I also worry about classification of that information, right? How much is the adversary able to see? And how much can they put a stitch together a picture and saying, this is what the Marine Corps is doing or going after. So look at that. Now that becomes a cyber problem. So,
well, I was going to say that you lead me into the AI conversation because there's all this data, there's all these things, like you said, social media, things like that. No longer do you need to have somebody putting it all together. You can have machine learning do that. How do you see that as a threat, as a hindrance, as a help, all the above?
Machine learning is an all-the-above problem because you have to look at if there are adversaries that are injecting into the code and tweaking it. So the analogy that I make is to a 5-year-old kid, right? You give them a certain set of information and they behave based on that. That's the same thing with AI technology. Whatever you feed in, garbage out. Good stuff in,
my favorite phrase,
good
yes.
out. So, but we have to figure out what is good too, right? The totality of more information, less information, who to trust more and who to trust less, the weighting of the AI factors, the LLMs. So we're trying to be data-driven, but at the same time, we're trying to figure out what is the totality of all the data too, right? What if you're missing data sets or from tactical systems or endpoints, either because there's no network availability or there is injection of a lot of garbage or wrong information, then the AI is going to go the wrong way too. Now you reduce the confidence of the AI and they're going to present back to an individual fly left when you should be flying right, for example.
Yeah, and that helps no one, I imagine, except people who want Marine Corps to have those kinds of problems. Stepping back a little bit, you talked about authentication and obviously zero trust is something that, again, another thing we hear a lot about. How is zero trust going hand in hand with the modernization effort on the network?
Sure. It is going definitely hand in hand because it layers on the data side, it layers on the network side. These are pillars of zero trust. User side is the user behavioral, the user analytics, what we can do on endpoint security management. That starts the process. At the tail end, you have the security incidents and response management, orchestration, event management. But at the middle there is the network, the analysis of the network, constantly monitoring which pipes are on, which pipes are off, how is the information being traversed, is something getting contained too much? And then the middle pillar has data. So the confidence and the availability of all the data. Do we have it all in a data mesh or a data fabric versus single individually stovepiped sets of data that we cannot. The data needs to be able to talk to each other, not the individual needs to figure out, hey, I need to send to XYZ. The data should be metadata tagging and data particles are at the particle level that figures out who needs to get what set of information. So I say data producers. We all produce data, pictures, videos, data, chats. Who wants to consume it? That should not be a push-pull between individuals because if I send a message, I might be omitting, for example, 3 or 4 people that should be receiving or has gained access to it. Now the system needs to figure out based on zero trust, does the individual need access or not?
Yeah, that's fascinating, especially in the modernization conversation, because there are so many points where that could go off the rails, such as it were, and I'm sure that's something that keeps you up at night. And thanks so much for doing this with us.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. Big space here. I'm looking for vendor solutions, academia solutions, and also to get the word out. So these second and third order conversations beyond my conversation.
Sure. Of course. No, and hopefully we keep these conversations going.
GovCast, along with HealthCast and Cybercast, is a production of GovCIO Media and Research. To explore our content, visit our website, govciomedia.com. Keep an eye out for new episodes every Tuesday. And if you like what you heard, leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice. Have a topic you want us to discuss? Contact us at newsletter@govcio.com.